About a month ago, I did an episode on TV comedy on DVD that I have in my collection, and the response was pretty good to that episode, so I thought I'd do a follow-up showcasing what I think are even stronger TV comedy series. This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet, full of all the stuff that I love, and today, 6 more TV comedy on DVDs, stronger than the first 6 that I shared in that previous episode. One series is sort of a precursor to Saturday Night Live. Another series features a comedy group that many people refer to as the Beatles of comedy. And another series is, in my opinion, the funniest TV comedy series ever produced. Let's check them out. I'm going to go in chronological order, starting with this particular disc, a 5-disc set from a Shout Factory. It's called Sid Cs The Works, but the main appeal of this is there's a film called 10 from Your Show of Shows. Your Show of Shows was the Sid Cs show that aired from 1950 to 1954. It was a live 90-minute variety show. I kind of think of it as a precursor to Saturday Night Live and In Living Color and Mad TV and other shows like that, except they use no cue cards and no teleprompters. So if you ever wondered about what's so great about Sid Cs, because so many comedians in the past will say Sid Cs was the greatest ever, once you see Your Show of Shows, which is included on here, you will understand completely and be convinced why he was so great. So this is what's on it. You have the feature film 10 from Your Show of Shows. So it's 10 skits from Your Show of Shows, which aired live on television. And then it has a variety of all of these other things. Caesar's Hour, which was a follow-up show, and then various other extras here. Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, Billy Crystal, Salute Sid Caesar, the Paley Center, Conversation with Sid Caesar, Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner. Mel Brooks is included here because he was one of the writers on Your Show of Shows, along with Neil Simon. Later on, with some other projects of Sid Caesar, Larry Gilbart of MASH fame and other things, and Woody Allen wrote for Sid Caesar's show. The show included satires of various films, even foreign films, satires of TV shows and game shows. Look up the clip, This Is Your Life, with Sid Caesar, and it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. It also inspired the Dick Van Dyke Show, because Carl Reiner, of course, created the Dick Van Dyke Show, and he played Alan Brady, who is patterned after Sid Caesar. So this is kind of what it looks like. You just have 5 discs in here, and you have a booklet which is about, I think, 24 pages long. Information about the show. It doesn't have a real breakdown of what's exactly on each thing, but it does have a pretty good description of the different skits and extras that are here. This you can get for about $38 last time I looked, and I don't see any of this streaming anywhere, but essential viewing for comedy fans. And since I don't think you can buy Your Show of Shows, the film itself, just go with this one and you'll get Your Show of Shows here and a bunch of extra stuff. Next up we have The Honeymooners from 1955 to 1956, 39 episodes. Originally this was part of Jackie Gleason's variety show, but then they made it into its own separate sitcom, half-hour sitcom show. Jackie Gleason created it, and ironically, all the cast members got Emmys except him. So this is the one where Jackie Gleason plays Ralph Cramden, the bus driver, who's always trying to think of ways to get rich quick. And the funny thing about that is I've met Ralph Cramden types in real life, and you probably have too. I'm not a huge fan of The Honeymooners. I always thought the set was odd. It looked like they were living in such a poor environment, and just the set was really weird to me, and something was off about it. Like it was too fake or something. Sometimes it looked like they were kind of flubbing their lines, but I guess that's kind of the appeal too. There's no doubt that Art Carney, who plays his friend who works in the sewers, and Jackie Gleason were great physical comic actors. And the women were good as well. The Flintstones, of course, the animated show, is just a direct copy or maybe an homage or maybe a ripoff of the Honeymooners. This is pretty simple. It's a 5-disc set. On disc 5, you do have some extra features, and you open it up, it looks like this. And so it does have a description of each episode, which is nice. It's always nice to have. And then on the back, it has a list of the episodes with a little photo from each one. So that's nice too. So this is a nice package. There's no booklet or anything, but it's still well done. And you can get this for the low, low price of $25 on Amazon right now. And some might even be able to get back in the box. So there's the Honeymooners. And now for something completely different. Monty Python's Flying Circus. This series ran from 1969 to 1974. These were 6 guys who wrote and performed these sketches. Sometimes they were surreal sketches. Sometimes they were in drag. Sometimes there were no punchlines. Sketches just ended. They often tied together for the complete half-hour episode. They met while they were in the university together. And they've often been referred to as the Beatles of comedy. And in fact, later on, Eric Idle, seen over here, went on to do a Beatles parody called The Ruddles, which George Harrison produced. And the sketches were also interspersed within them were some animations by Terry Gilliam, who of course went on to become a quite accomplished director. I first came across Monty Python. Somehow I noticed them on PBS, and I just got hooked immediately. Guys of a certain age will quote them constantly. And they were also very literate. Their comedy would have references to philosophy and literature and historical figures. They often had British references, which I didn't get. And of course, they had censorship problems as well. And they went on to do several films, including Life of Brian, Meaning of Life, and Monty Python, the Holy Grail. This is a 16-ton mega set, they call it. And there's 16 discs, including 2 bonus discs, which include Monty Python Live. One's at the Hollywood Bowl. The back of it gives you a list of what's on each episode, which is very nice. There's no booklet involved. And the discs are pretty simple. These very slim cases. And they look like this inside, nothing special. And just the names of the episodes and who's in them. All these guys went on to do other things. And just really classic stuff. The good thing about Monty Python's Flying Circus is right now you can see this series on Netflix. You can buy a Blu-ray set. It's been put out in a couple of different configurations. You can buy a Blu-ray set for about $80. This is a DVD set. All the ones I'm showing you today are all DVDs. This was put up at the A&E network. And this particular DVD set goes for $150. I don't know why it's more expensive than the Blu-ray, except maybe because of those 2 bonus discs. But classic comedy, Monty Python's Flying Circus. After Monty Python's Flying Circus ended, John Cleese, who was one of the members of that group, went on to create this half-hour comedy, Fawlty Towers. It ran in 1975 and then again in 1979. 12 episodes total. BFI, the British Film Institute, has this listed number 1 of the 100 greatest British TV shows ever. John Cleese is a hotel owner, Basil Fawlty, and he co-wrote the series with Connie Booth, who's also in this, and they were married at the time. And it was inspired by a real hotel owner that John Cleese encountered, who seemed very irritable and annoyed that the guests even showed up, and he thought that was really funny and made a series based on that guy. Usually their situations build and build until he gets more and more annoyed throughout the episode and then kind of explodes by the end. Great lines, great quotes, and this is what it looks like. This is from BBC. There's some illustrations of what the hotel looks like. It's pretty simple. Disc 3 has some special features on it, and then has a name of the episodes, and opens up like that. He liked, just like Monty Python used a lot of wordplay, he did too. So they would change the letters in front of the hotel to Fatty Owls, Watery Fowls, Farty Towels. And there's a booklet, which it's okay. It's brief, and it's just the background about the series. But this is one of those series that I can't imagine anybody not enjoying, because it's just so funny, and he's so hilarious in it. You can buy this for, I think, about $25, and it might be available in Blu-ray too. I'm not sure. This is a DVD, of course. And if you have the streaming service BritBox, they're showing it on there right now. Now we come to what, in my opinion, is the funniest, greatest TV comedy series ever, and that's SCTV, standing for, of course, Second City TV. Second City being the famous improv group, which is where these folks who did this met and developed this TV show based on that. It's from 1976 to 1981. It takes place at a fictitious, low-budget TV station in Mellonville. And so part of it is behind the scenes and their own cast of characters, like these two that work at the station and that appear on the TV. And then you have its own TV shows, low-budget ones, kids shows, horror movie shows, and then it does parodies of various famous films and TV shows. The cast wrote and performed it. They were left alone in Toronto, kind of in the middle of nowhere, to just do their own thing, and nobody really bothered them. And this is a character-driven comedy, which is, I think, the funniest. And it's just so absurd at times to get all these weird, funny characters together playing off each other. Now, I first saw it on TV in Channel 9 local station in California. And I saw it listed, and I don't even know why I chose to watch it, but it was a half-hour show, and then it expanded to 90 minutes, and it came on after Saturday Night Live, or right around like 12:30 at night. So we would stay up and watch SNL, and then we would stay up again and watch SCTV. There were no VCRs, there were no DVRs, of course, so you just had to stay up and do it. Later on, they switched to Cinemax, when Cinemax was a pretty early cable pay TV channel. So the funny thing about SCTV is just looking at the names of some of the skits that they did makes me laugh out loud. To this day, if I look at any clips, I just laugh out loud, whether anybody's next to me or not. They had original characters. They did impressions of people nobody else did. They would do parodies of Leave It to Beaver with John Candy, the great John Candy playing Beaver. They did kid shows. They did parodies of Chinatown. They made fun of Vegas-type entertainers like comedians and singers. They did parodies of On the Waterfront and Midnight Cowboy with John Candy playing the Joe Buck character. They made fun of horror films. They made fun of commercials. So briefly, this is the early years, best of the early years. This was the half-hour show, and it gives you some special features here, most of them looking back at the show. And then when you open it up, there's no booklet in this one, but it's pretty basic inside, except it does have a little description on the back of what's in each episode. I have all of these things here, so I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. This is Volume 1, and you can see the cast members, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, who of course went on later to be in Schitt's Creek. I had a hard time at first watching Schitt's Creek because Eugene Levy in that show plays a straight man, and in SCTV he was just so funny and so crazy. And Eugene Levy even said, "I can't believe I finally won an Emmy for playing a straight man after being so crazy after all these years." The late great John Candy, Andrea Martin, who we once got to see in a one-woman show live, which was great. Joe Flaherty, he went on to star as the dad in Freaks and Geeks. Rick Moranis, who of course went on to many films, and Ghostbusters, for example, and who I think is retired, and Dave Thomas. Early years also had Harold Ramis, who, rest in peace, who was also the head writer. So bonus features here. You have a Conan O'Brien hosting a tribute to them in Aspen. He was a big fan. And then all these things are pretty similar. You open them up, and they kind of look like this. And different characters here. There's Rick Moranis playing Woody Allen. I mean, you would have John Candy playing Divine from the John Waters films, and then each one of these also has a booklet, which has a little background. This is 5 Neat Guys. You want to laugh out loud? Look on YouTube for 5 Neat Guys, SCTV, and it's just so funny. Bobby Bittman character, terrible comedian. The Schmengi brothers, like a polka act, and then this should have. There's Martin Short, who came on a little bit later. You should have a description of each episode. So if you want to find a skit you're particularly looking for, you can go to it pretty fast, or if you want to show somebody a certain skit. Volume 2 is very similar. Booklet. I think these are five discs in each one. Each booklet's about, let's see, 24 pages long, and a breakdown, a very complete breakdown of each episode and what's in it. And there's just so much in here. It's just so funny. There's John Candy playing Johnny LaRue, surrounded by his ladies. Let me move along quickly. Here's Volume 3. There's the Schmengis again, playing their polka songs. There's that incredible cast, so funny and so talented. You know, it's all character-based humor. There are 5 discs here. There is a booklet in here. Again, breaking down in great detail what's happening. After school specials they did. Their own soap opera called The Days of the Week. This one comes with some moments from the Second City stage, which includes people like Mike Myers, Chris Farley, I think Dan Aykroyd's on here somewhere. You know, anybody who's really funny was part of this thing, really. And then finally, Volume 4. I think this might be the one when they went to Cinemax. And there's some more of their great characters. I think it's Andrea Martin playing Liza Minnelli. They chose the weirdest celebrities to impersonate. There's Joe Flaherty. He's hosting a monster film show. He's Count Floyd. And again, here's all this. Oh, and look what we have here. 2 tickets when I saw Martin Short in person. Which was fantastic. And I also saw him doing the live The Producers with Jason Alexander. And this one comes with some trading cards of some of their characters. They found just the right way to imitate some of these people. And again, another booklet. Now, I don't see SCTV streaming anywhere, unfortunately. You can buy these sets. They range in price a great deal, anywhere from reasonable to unreasonable. Maybe you can find them used. I don't know. You're really going to have to dig if you want to find SCTV, which again, I think is the funniest TV comedy ever. And finally, the last TV comedy on DVD I want to share with you is News Radio, the complete series. There's 97 episodes. I think it's 12 discs. I'm not sure. seasons 1 through 5. Yeah, 12 discs. And this is not really that consistently funny. It's very sitcom-y, but it's notable for its cast. In particular, this guy, Phil Hartman, who is so funny on this. It did win at least one Emmy for a Best Comedy Series. Andy Dick, who was on the Ben Stiller Show, and I talked about in my previous episode. He's in this. That's Joe Rogan, believe it or not, the famous podcaster now. He plays kind of a handyman. And Maura Tierney, who's been in a lot of stuff. Stephen Root, who was in Office Space. He's the guy with the staplers and the Post-it notes and stuff. And he's in Barry, the TV series Barry right now. And Dave Foley, who was in Kids in the Hall, which I've tried to get into and I just never found funny. I don't know why. Maybe I'll try again. So this is behind the scenes of a news radio station. And Dave Foley is the new news director, and he's joining the crew here. It was created by a writer from the Larry Sanders Show. I don't think there are any extras on here. I think it's just the show, but it's funny enough. It doesn't stand up to the other ones I showed you, but the cast is great. In fact, Phil Hartman died, well, he was killed before the show was over, and so they had John Lovitz, who's also very funny, come in the last season to quote unquote take his place. And apparently the episode they shot that addressed Phil Hartman's death, they had to stop shooting several times because the cast members just couldn't keep it together. They just broke down crying because it was so sad. The packaging on this is pretty awful. It does have a list of each episode title, which is nice, but this packaging is kind of lame because you take this out and all the discs are just sort of piled on top of each other. But I think I bought this for like 20 bucks at first. Now, I don't know why this copy is going for 70 bucks on Amazon. It's a DVD. Everything I've shown you has been DVDs, no Blu-rays. But there's also another packaging, another version of this, complete series, for $23, which is a lot cheaper than $70. So if you're interested, you can check out the $23 version one. That's the rest of my TV comedy series on DVD that I have. Hope you like this episode. I hope I did justice to some of these great series. Obviously, you can do an episode on each one of these, but I want to keep it as brief as I could. Feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down here. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.